Anything you want to talk about?
You.
She's 5'2", but
I'm not 5'2".
want you.
5'4" on a good day.
Good day. So we talked about earlier.
Stop,
She thought.
Stop. It's not my fault if this stupid thing wasn't. It's like, look, the mirror all off. I don't know which.
So I found out recently that Bre, for whatever reason, in the beginning of our relationship, thought she was the same height as me.
No, I thought I was taller than you.
She thought she was taller than me. And her mom had to tell her, like, girl, you are 5'3". I'm sure that man is not 5'3".
I have little people syndrome.
She do. She want to drive a big truck. What else you want big?
Everything's big. Was you about to make a nasty joke?
You love me like yeah. You love me like no. You love me like oh. You love me like yeah. You love me like no.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's
Dre
and Bre, and you're watching Worth the Wait.
What we're going to talk about today is how to know if someone is the right one for you.
Oh.
That's a big question. And I feel like we get that from a lot because most of our real life scenarios and people that we talk to, they're in relationships and they're just trying to figure out, like, is this person the right one for me?
Yeah.
And I first want to start off by telling kind of our story a little bit if you haven't heard it. I feel like for Bre and I, like, I know especially for me, like, I received confirmation during those like times of our relationships or during certain moments in our relationship that she was the one I was going to spend the rest of my life with. That's not meaning that she had everything together when we first met or that everything was perfect or peaches and cream the whole way, but there was just certain times of confirmation. So I'll just give a few. Excuse me. So the first one was, if people don't know, January 1st, 2017 is when I made the commitment to wait for marriage. When I went down to JMU, the school that I went to, I was down there for a career event, and I ran into a girl that I used to have relations with back in school. At this point, I met Bre one weekend in September the year before that. I haven't talked to her since. The girl was very convincing and wanted me to do stuff with her. I said no. Yes, I said no, and I said I wasn't going to do it. And that next day, this girl I haven't talked to in 7 months that I met for one weekend told me she was moving to DC and she wanted to have dinner. That was one big thing of confirmation. The next time she wanted to come down for a Jesus camp is what we called it. It was a prophetic conference at this church that ironically the couple that introduced me and Bre invited us to. And I told her the whole week before she came down from Cleveland that I had something to tell her. And you know, when you tell a girl that, you're like, she's like,
oh Lord, baby.
I don't know what to tell you. She don't know. Like, I don't know what you about to tell me.
Big feeling.
It's funny. That was kind of the other way, but you're not gonna big feeling. But anyways, but anyways, at that moment, like, I was going to tell her that I was waiting for marriage. Dope thing is that when we were sitting down talking, I was talking about different things and I was waiting to say that for the end. But before I had said it, she had told me that she wanted to wait to have sex at least until she got engaged. And at that moment, I was just like, yo, like, she wants to wait.
She's halfway there.
Like, she wants to wait though. Like, she's cool waiting for marriage and I didn't even like say it yet. So that's confirmation again that I knew, like, all right, this is the woman that I want to spend the rest of my life with.
Night.
It was a great time.
I knew you were going to be my husband that night. For sure,
but it was just different moments of confirmation in between there. And that's the thing that you truly have to remember as we talk about how to figure it out. It's the thing you truly have to remember in those hard times, like in times where you go through it or times where you're like, like, this is getting a little difficult. You realize those moments of confirmation and say, this is the person for me. And I would say, I always say about Bre, at any time in our relationship, she always wanted to do better and always wanted to be better. So even if she had times or things she wasn't doing the right way, or maybe with money she wasn't as good or something like that, she always wanted to, like, be better or do better or, you know, create a better life for herself. So that was one thing for me that I knew that even though, you know, we had our differences in the beginning and there were some rough times, that I knew that it was going to end up working out in the long run.
Yes. Should I share mine?
Yeah, sure.
I don't really have like specific moments. I feel like the whole thing, it was like every day was a new one. I'm like, oh my God, this makes no sense. Like, this is crazy. So the thing that I always like tell people is there should be no doubt. Like, it's almost like when people say like, how do you know if you're marrying the right person? It's like if you have a doubt or inkling in your mind that it's not the right person, it probably is not. It's an undeniable, undescribable feeling of like, even when he asked me to be his girlfriend, I didn't honestly want to say yes because I felt like I had just moved to a new place. Like literally, I mean, the day I moved, I was like, dang, you're taking up the market already? Even though I knew like I wanted to be with him, it was a natural human instinct to be like, nah, bruh, not yet. But it was undeniable. It was like there was nothing in me that said, tell this man no. Like, I was like, okay, like, sure. And then I woke up the next day and I felt like so just excited and like happy that like I did say yes. And every single thing in our relationship, it was just like confirmation, 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 from the way that he talked to me, the way that we communicated together, the walks that we would take and the conversations we would have, and like how mature our conversations were and the things that we were talking about. It wasn't like, what's your favorite color? It's like, what do you want to do with your life? Like, why do you believe in God? Like, what are like just things that you're like, yo, it all just kind of like made sense. And there were times and things that one of the things I can remember is I wrote a list of 100 things. That's a lot. 100 things I wanted my husband to have, whether it was characteristics, attitudes, beliefs, behaviors, like 100 things that I wanted my husband to be like. And I remember I was, oh God, this is so bad to say, but I got a DUI and I was at a weekend jail basically where I had to go through like this program and the classes were so boring. And so that's when I wrote my list. And I remember, I was, I'm sorry, that's not when I wrote my list. I had my journal with me and the list was in there and I was texting Dre and the things like, this is so boring. And I came across the list and I actually went through and actively checked off all of the things that he checked off. And there was a couple things that were missing, just not because it wasn't what he had or whatever. I didn't know yet. And then like within a week, I basically like made conversation to like see if these things like made sense or like gave him an opportunity to like prove to me whether or not it made sense. And it was that. And so how he made the joke about the height thing, one of the things said like, be tall, right? I didn't put like a foot or nothing. I just be tall. And when I had the conversation, my mom was like, he checks off everything, but he's not tall. And she was like, what do you mean he's not tall? She's like, you're 5'3". Anybody is tall to you. Like, how tall is he? And you remember me asking you, like, how tall are you? And he told me, and then I was like, okay. And then we went on a date and we were walking by like a glass building and I looked over and I was like, what the? Like, I am way shorter than him. And I was like, what was I thinking? Like, why did I ever feel that way? And it was just like moments like that where basically I had put so much time in preparing to find the right person and to recognize the right person that for me, the confirmation was like, yo, you made a whole 100 things, a whole list. And one day, I have it in my closet. One day we're gonna do a video, I'm gonna read off the 100 list. But anyways, it was little stuff like that for me was confirmation, so.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing that Bre said is not having doubt. Like, I talk to so many people who are in relationships and I ask them when they say, oh yeah, I'm dating this person, I'm dating that person. I was like, do you think they're the person you can, like, you'll spend the rest of your life with? And the answers that you get sometimes are so like, I don't know, or no, or I think so. It's like what Bre said. I think that there's no doubt, especially if you've been dating somebody for a year or two and you're still like, still some things they need to work on. It's like, I don't know if that's like, maybe it could be in the future, but I don't think that's a good sign that that's the person that's right for you. And I think the way that relationships are and how casually marriage and strong and like committed relationships look like, that people tell you like, oh yeah, it's like sometimes you may not know or you feel like, nah, this ain't it. But it's like we are for sure like, yes, it's the person. Do you feel like this is the person that's right for you? And it's like, yes. Even if we get into it, like my mom has asked me at times, like if, you know, my parents are wedding counselors, and she'll say like, is there any doubt in your mind that she's still the one that you're supposed to marry? I said, there's no doubt in my mind that she's still the woman I'm supposed to marry. So it's like, it's never ever a doubt in my mind that it's like, no matter what we go through, that she is the woman that I want to spend the rest of my life with.
Yeah, and I think that stems back to if you're a couple or you're in a relationship and like God isn't heavy in the center of it, that you don't even ultimately know what it means to truly like love someone. And so you'll be dating someone thinking that you like them because you're attracted to them, you have good sex with them, it's convenient for you. They like all your friends like them. It's like all the little things, but behind closed doors you really aren't. You're like, why am I with this person? And when you have an argument, the first thing is like, it's a breakup. And then it's like, oh, after 24 hours, you guys end up getting back together. It's like when stuff like that happens all the time, it's like, how do you feel good about that being the person that you have to spend your life with? Because when you're dating, you're going through little things. Like imagine the things that are going to happen when you're married. One of the things that just happened today at dinner with one of my friends, her sister, they lost their son. And we were talking about how most couples, when they lose a child or they go through something traumatic like that, the marriage usually ends. And it's because the love that, or the foundation of the relationship wasn't there in the first place. And most relationships can't handle something like that. And she was like, no, like I know my sister and her husband are going to be good. And the reason why is because God is heavily involved and is the core of their relationship. And so instead of tearing each other down and making it an issue between their marriage of what happened, they're supporting one another. They're praying for each other. They're being stronger and better than ever because they're going through something hard. So I feel like if God's not at the center and you really don't know who you are as a person, you can't even determine if someone is right for you or not, because you don't know who you are and what you really want. And you don't know that if you don't really have a relationship with God and really understand what love is, what it means, what it looks like, and not what it sounds like, but how it acts. And that's huge. So
it's a good word right there.
Hallelujah.
That's definitely a huge part of it, the relationship with God. Because I mean, Bre trusts me because she knows where my trust lies. She trusts me with leading because she knows who leads my life and ultimately who leads our life together. But one thing too I would say about finding the right person for you is that you should never question if that person is committed to you. Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot of issues that Bre and I wouldn't even call it issues, but challenges that we had to face, but none of them were ever like, I think she's messing around, or I don't think she's truly here for me, like, or she feels like I'm not truly here for her. It's like, that was never a thing.
Yeah.
It's like, if you ever have to question, like, I don't think this person is here for me, or they seem to be, like, acting sketchy or put me on the back burner for this or that, it's like, probably ain't the right person for you, or this is not the season that you should be with this person, or they should be with you, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a huge thing to keep in mind. But just look for those confirmations. Especially, one thing my parents always told me and my pops always told me is that as long as you're doing what God said to do, He's obligated to come through for you because He doesn't lie. Mm-hmm. So what that means is that as long as you're focused on what you're supposed to be focused on, and as long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, then the things that are supposed to come to you will come to you. A lot of times when you're doing things you aren't supposed to be doing, then you get a lot of things that come to you that aren't supposed to be coming to you. So if you think about where Bre and I were when we met, I was committing to not having sex until marriage, and I truly committed to it. I was truly committing to focus on myself, focus on my job. I wasn't looking for somebody, even though I felt like I was ready. I was just focused on the things I was supposed to be focused on.
Same.
And Bre was in the same position, and then our paths ended up aligning in that way to where we weren't even looking for one another. Like even when we first started dating, we was like, we want to focus on ourselves. We want to focus on like what we're doing.
We virtually made vision boards because I had still lived in Cleveland at the time, and we literally put that like, I was like, we're not gonna be in a relationship. We're gonna focus on being friends.
Yeah, and we were like I was like, yeah, I want to go back to school, and this is my focus. And she's like, I want to build my business here, and this is my focus. And we were like cool with that, getting to know each other and focusing on that stuff. But just so it just shows that we weren't like in it trying to find this person or trying to be with this person. We were just truly like focusing on what we felt like God had us to really focus on, and then our paths end up aligning.
Yeah. So yeah, I would definitely say that at the most of the times as individuals, we know what we want out of a person, and we end up being with someone who doesn't actually meet those standards, but we make excuses and reasons of why, well, we should still date them. So I think sticking to your guns and really knowing like what you want, why you want it, and then sticking to it. But also being in a space where, again, you're putting God first and being your best self. Because if you're out here dating and trying to find someone and you're with somebody and you're not ultimately like at your best or not trying to be at your best, then you could really be in a space where you're settling for someone that makes sense for this season, but not for a lifetime. And so kind of those two things and balancing them both, like who are you and then what do you actually want?
And there's one thing I would leave with you is just don't try to make things make sense. Wait till they make sense.
Ooh, I hated that when Dre first told me that.
That's a word though.
I said skirt, what you doing?
Don't try to make things make sense. Wait till they make sense. Because when things make sense, they make sense. Like if you're trying to, it's like say you like, yo, I want to get this Mercedes, but I gotta wait till this next check. I gotta take something out my 401k. I gotta ask grandma to co-sign. It's like you're trying to make it make sense when it doesn't make sense. But people do that in a lot of relationships. You're trying to make a person make sense that doesn't make sense.
You're like, he got five baby mamas, 6 kids. He's a convicted felon, but he treats me nice. It's like, does that really make sense though for you and where you are in your life?
Well, the person just isn't giving you the time of day. They're truly inconsistent. What they say is not matching up their actions, but you're trying to make it make sense for where you are when it truly doesn't make sense. So if you want to know, a short answer, if you want to know if someone's right for you, is that it'll make sense. You won't have to question like, is this person for me? You won't have to question like, you know, do I see myself spending the rest of my life with this person? Does this person love me? Is this person here for me? You want to question it.
No.
It'll just make sense. You don't have to
doubt.
Make it make sense.
Amen.
So that's our word for today. Make sure you follow us at It's Dre Smith.
At Brianna Ponte.
And at Worth the Wait. Peace out.